The game's afoot. We have a new case. Who wants to amaze us with their insights?
I'm here with Morris Chestnut. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about Watson.
Let's talk.
All right, before I get there,
Sure.
The resident.
Yes.
Rosewood, Nurse Jackie,
Oh, yeah.
ER, ICU nurse, but still within everyone looks at you and thinks, you should be a doctor.
I wish I was a doctor. But I just played one on TV. Being a doctor when I was younger was not one of my aspirations. I've always respected the field, but of course I didn't have the grades in high school to do it, and I didn't think that I wanted to go through that whole 10 years of medical school and residency and all of that.
Probably a little bit of an easier lift doing it on TV.
A little bit of an easier lift, just a little bit. To have people tell me and explain to me what the medical jargon means, and I'd have to look it up myself and know it for a test and all that type of stuff. You're thinking biotinidase deficiency, correct?
Do you generally know what you're saying? Like, do you understand what you're saying?
At the time that I said, yes. At the time that I said, so doing a network television show is really challenging, especially, when you're playing the titular character, because you have a ton of dialogue. So it's almost like cramming for a test. So I'll have the dialogue in there and I'll understand what I'm saying at that point in time, but going from episode to episode, it just goes right out the window. Erica and Autumn have a form of salmonella poisoning. Typically shows up in cats who hunt birds carrying the Salmonella typhimurium bacteria.
We've talked about how we come into the show meeting Watson, and he's had a traumatic brain injury. So, the Watson we're getting is maybe not the full Watson, is maybe not the completely in control Watson, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think is the difference between how you're playing him now and maybe, how he might have been before?
The difference is, so not only is he dealing with a traumatic brain injury, but he's dealing with some life-changing events. He jumped into the water and went down a waterfall and lost his best friend. He also comes back to his wife, who's not his wife anymore. She's estranged, and he's trying to...
She's still his wife, right? We got
well,
that.
she's still his wife,
Yeah.
but she's estranged.
Yeah.
So, he wants to get back together. He's not even living in the house, and he has to rebuild his career. You're catching him at probably the most insecure moment of his life. He's a pretty smart doctor who's really sure of himself and very confident, but he's very unsettled at the moment, and that's where the story opens up.
I'm wondering, we don't see him a lot at home. It seems like he even sleeps at the office sometimes, at least.
Yes.
What do you think his home life looks like? Is he ever there? What does he do?
Yeah, so throughout the course of the season, you will see him sleeping at home a little bit more. He has it's a very simple place to where he's not, like I say, he's not there as much. He sleeps at the hospital quite a bit. He's married to his job.
Episode 2 features someone warning someone else, we won't spoil anything here, that Ingrid is not a great presence to have around, right? Mm-hmm. We also learn along the way that some of the other staffers are hiding things.
Yes.
How aware is Watson of all of this?
When Watson wakes up from the brain injury, he's in a coma, he wakes up from the coma, there's very few people that he feels that he can trust. Because of the traumatic brain injury and because of where he is in his life, he may be more trusting of others around him than he should be. Even though he suspects, he dismisses it a few times because he just can't fathom it being true that someone around him could be betraying him.
That leads right into Shinwell, right?
Okay, sure.
So
he's right there.
As you said, he doesn't have many people he can lean on. Shinwell seems like someone who's ride or die. Talk to me a little bit about how we'll see that dynamic play out as the season goes on. Shinwell being conflicted, Watson perhaps being suspicious.
When Watson comes out of the coma, the one person that's very familiar to him through Sherlock was Shinwell. They both had close bonds and ties with Sherlock. What comes to play throughout the season is, as with any friendship, you spend a lot of time around each other. You're going to have disagreements. And he is going to question Shinwell quite a bit.
Okay.
But I think deep down, he's always believed that Shinwell was in his corner. And we'll just have to see if Shinwell really is in his corner.
What are the chances Moriarty has infiltrated the lab beyond Shinwell?
Very good question.
Thank you. That means you don't want to answer it, but that's okay. Bring it on.
I will say that at the end of the pilot, we revealed Moriarty. And he had a T-shirt on that says,
"Always and everywhere."
He is always around. He tries to wreak havoc on many people in my life and anyone who tries to get in his way. And that happens to a large degree.
All right. This is a very serious journalistic question, so please take it in the manner I'm asking. In the premiere, Watson takes off his shirt to hide some medicine.
Yes.
And I'm just asking in the name of journalism, whether something like that might happen again as the season goes on.
Yes, it does happen again. I don't think Watson is as in shape as he was then because he didn't have the time, but it does happen again.
Okay, good. The people need to
The
know.
people need to know.
Excellent, excellent.